Okay, next. Side. So I will have to give this to my partner. This is going to be very lengthy again. Good afternoon. So, let's go to sites. Second one of the most pinakamarami na na-map under the coverage. So, first is the Cannon Road. It is the first road of the PI. We all know Session Road, andyan lang, the CBG.
5. Silang dalawa.
Abanaw Street. 5.
5.
No argument, okay. Baguio Public Market, as you know, puno-puno yung significance niya. Do we consider it as a cultural property? Yes. Burnham Park. We all know Burnham Park. We all know Burnham Park.
Where's that?
It's named after the architect Daniel Burnham. Now, here's the question, as we have talked about the, what do you call this, the skating rink. Since we have 12 clusters of Burnham Park, and Burnham Park is very known as iconic and historical in Baguio. But for us mappers, it's very hard to map all the clusters of Burnham since we lack information. So, if you have any knowledge or do you want to tell a story about Burnham Park, we are gladly open to talk with you. Since kasi dalawa lang yung entry na map namin under the clusters of Burnham Park, which is the Burnham Lake. Burnham Lake is very known with its mga history. Do we consider it as a property? Sir, property of Baguio?
Just take note that Burnham Lake is not mapped as natural. It is mapped under built or immoral.
Next is the Burnham Football Field.
Excuse me. Regarding Burnham Lake, aesthetic, you say that it's an artificial lake.
Yes, sir.
That is a natural lake.
Natural lake.
It used to be a natural lake. That's why it's called Minak.
Yeah. It was milk before.
Alright. So, kung may concern dito about the history, minsan kasi may mga ibang natural na natabunan. Like, dapat river siya, na naging street. You have those. The best agency to determine this would be DNR. Because the DNR would have the list of all the natural sites, the heritage. So we consult DNR regarding this, kung if it's still considered, kasi meron po silang yardsticks for lake. For example, one yardstick na isang lake, no, galing na ako sa Mount Hamigitan, dapat meron siyang natural source of water. Pag wala siyang, at saka meron din siyang dapat exit point. That's one indicator for lake. So pag yan ay heavily changed already, massively altered, then the lake might be delisted as a lake and it becomes it's more of an immovable. So sige, that's well noted. We'll ask, no? Although in the history, it could have been, sabi nila daw it was not really a lake but just a pool of water. But nonetheless, it's a swampy area. So that's even we have to distinguish because a swamp is different from a lake also. Yes, but that's noted. Meron pang isang story dito that yung, kung totoo ito, Session Road used to be a part of it, used to be, there's a creek, and that creek feeds to the swampy area. So kung meron pa kayong mga memories na yun, please let us know. But we will consult DNR regarding its official entry if it's considered as a natural lake.
Burnham, the water from Burnham is coming from the underground. It's not coming from the rain. That's a natural lake.
We'll Councilor, take note of it. Pag meron ko naman, walang problema, we'll transfer it to natural heritage. Pero iba na ang protection niya. Mas meron siyang implications for protection if it's a natural heritage. Iba ang system doon. Kasi if it's a natural heritage, that's when you discuss about, do we still have the species there? The plant species, the flora, fauna? So ano yung babalik nyo doon? So there should be a study for it. No? So may ibang nuances pa rin. But I'll talk to DNR.
Yung matinding.
Yes, Martin.
The American historian, Alfred McCoy, did actually a study of the photographs of Baguio, which what the Superintendent of the Department of Public Works had to do for all the infrastructure modification they did as part of the when you finish a project, you have to document and prove that you spent a lot for the project. Qualification. Those photographs Dr. McCoy discovered are still in the National Archives of the United States, but they are kept in the major depository of it, which is not in Washington, D.C., but in College Station. I don't know if the pictures are already online, but the National Archives has a section called American Memory, and sometimes pictures of the Philippines are there. Now, unfortunately, they have kept the United States, for purposes of their archiving, have kept records of the Philippines following how the Americans recorded it in the early 1900s. So some of the Filipino-related stuff is under Indian affairs. Okay? So as far as the Americans are concerned, you are Indians because the Spanish called us Indios. So it's a little bit tricky when you look for these things, but that's a whole repository that is more and more available publicly because the United States is digitizing a lot of the records. So things like this, when there was a link, there might be a picture of before and after the creation of this place.
Or we will refer this to the academic institutions.
Yes, that's
So
right.
as we ask the UP Baguio History Department or St. Louis History to help us out, we need to do local history in terms of looking at archival resources. Parang this is something like, it's also beyond the city. That's what I tell the academy also. This is really where you can help out. Because you need translations for this. Sometimes the texts are in Spanish or in other languages. So the academy is very much needed. These are their queries.
Yes, ma'am. This is according to what I've heard from the elders because I'm still young. But the history, what I've heard, the water from the lake is coming from Camposopo, going down to Magsaysay. That is the old history. That's why what I can recall is the big Impurna culvert going down to Magsaysay. That is where the lake, if the lake is full, it will flow away going down to Magsaysay. But will be followed by the elders who have much knowledge on that. Thank you.
We will talk later for that motion.
There are two big channels under the Magsaysay where the Philippine traffic used to park. And that's coming from Vernon Park.
No more for the Burnham Lake. Next is the Burnham football field. Do you consider this is a cultural property of Baguio? Five?
Yes, right.
Regarding the football field, again, our elders mentioned that on the southern portion, that's towards the police station, was used as a cemetery. There are pictures, so if we could consider that.
Okay, sir. No.
That was during the Japanese time.
Okay, sir. Ma'am Linda and sir, mag-kismisan kayo namin. Okay. Next is the teachers camp as a site. Do we consider it as a cultural property? Yes. Next is the home sweet home compound. Since meron siya sa building, meron din sa ano, sorry. Yes? Easter College as a site, do we consider it? Yes. The Comelec compound as a site, do we consider it? Yes?
Eh, tamno na ako kumanaw.
PMA as a site are home for the security of the Philippines school, PMA. Do we consider it?
EJ ko
Under
lang.
PMA is the borrowing of field is considered as a similar to them. Do we consider it? According to their
Historian.
historian, sir, you help me with this.
Right. According to Colonel Simon, the historian of the Philippine Military Academy, the Borromeo Field is a very, what do you call this? How do you describe it? Very sacred place for the graduates of the Philippine Military Academy. So, for it, you can only step there if you are a graduate or if you're an officer. But if you're a civilian going there just to go to the PMA, you cannot step on the ground. You're not allowed to step on the ground. That's if the superintendent allows you to step on the ground.
Okay. No more. Sir.
Regarding that paving sign, that was the postulate of the always the original signals of Baguio. 1950s was established only after the war. But prior to the war is that they always postulate of the Baguio prior revolution. Until now we are claiming actually. Thank you.
Sir, your best.
Yes, for the whole site, the history, it was an Ibalik pastoral lands. When it was given to the PMA, when the government, okay, appropriate word for that. So for the graduates, the place for that one, Borromeo Field, is Jersey.
Okay, no more. So, do we score it as a 5? 5. Next is the Mirador Hill, where the Joshua Villa is found. Do we consider it is a cultural property of Baguio? Yes. 5? Next is the Engineers Hill. It is one of the property or the founding compound of Governor General Leonard Group, including the Cabinet Hill and Luneta Hill. So, do we consider this as a cultural property of Baguio? Score? 5. Top side. This is the site where Governor General Fordes used to live, where is also the Good Shepherd Convent is located. Do we consider it as a cultural property? 5. Patdal Circle, or was historically known as Park Circle. There is a question here, since as we mappers, we don't know exactly when and how this was established, but it was considered as a significant based on its history and its social, economic, and social significance. So if you know something or anything about historical, you may approach us so that it will help us also to track when this was published. And this fall under the jurisdiction pala of St. Joseph Village, Barangay, not Patdal Circle. Do we consider this as a heritage property? Yes.
Pati
Five.
Voice of America niya.
Lumacan Airport. We all know this. Yes?
Yes.
Five.
Yes.
Kisad Valley. It is the first or former Ibaloi settlement of Baguio. Do we consider this as a cultural property of Baguio? Yes. Five. Okay.
BGH nga eh.
Green Rest
BGH pa
Ministry
niya.
Center. This is located
Pati BGH.
at Magsaysay. It is
May
built
nayon niya.
by the first female architect in the Philippines, Aida Rosario. And the only Protestant retreat
As a site,
house in Baguio.
BGH
Do we
compound.
consider this as a cultural property of Baguio? Yes? Five?
World Rest Ministry Center. Ano dito?
Do we have a year?
Sir?
First female architect in the Philippines.
Yes,
Sorry.
I
It was constructed by
the one on the map is 1930s. It's around 1930s. Carlo?
The original structure was built in 1928, but it was bombed during the liberation of Baguio by the American forces. The new buildings were built around 1950s and 60s.
The Doing Rest is located at the Magsaysay Road, just beside the Clean Fuel. And at Clean Fuel, there's a private road going up. If you go there, you're going to see the Doing Rest Mission Ministry Center.
Below INC. So, five? Next is the Baguio Animal and Breeding Research Center, or known as Dairy Farm. Do we consider this as a cultural property of Baguio? Yes? Five? Five. Baguio Cemetery. Five? Okay. So, are there any other sites that okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am. This is the BCDA claim. Aside from the historical claim of the late Marco Carino, the existing of the BCDA is previously being pastored land by the Luacanians and other adjoining barangays. So what is going on now is already being fenced by the BCDA, and in the what's happening now in the ecological balance. So if we will return na Balanga pasture land, it will be nice and it will be better for the Baguio.
Is that RCSS or similar?
No, the BCDA, Kamchanay, ma'am.
Actually,
Yes, ma'am.
oh, yeah. No.
Sa John Hiren, meron yung mga Philham Cemetery 1, Philham Cemetery 2, at saka kami siguro Voice of America.
Noted, sir.
Awan ba? Historical
Any more other additions?
Navy base?
Ma'am?
Historical. Adama. So, sa TINPP mi na.
Garden in front of PG.
Ganda yan.
The Japanese garden,
Sa Pinayaris may
Yeah,
Lakan.
the garden in front, between
Tapos sa
Marcos Highway and
dating ng military.
noted, ma'am. We will check.
Kapal. Wait. Site. Sige, mag-monitor.
Light Park, Sunshine Park, Kadapat issue dito.
Sa mga military kasi Bagyo.
Recreation
As a site.
Agriculture has been there forever. Until now, it is still there. Usually, because that's where if you want to get free or even get free grass, you can get
Noted, sir.
Yeah. How about Camp Allen and Navy Base? Would they not have any historical significance to the city?
Noted, sir.
Yes, sir. It's included, sir, and the Camp Allen and the Navy base. Regarding the Camp Allen, it has been mapped, but regarding the Navy base, it is under process for the permission, sir. Right now, we cannot enter it to mapping.
Parang ang concern ng Baguio, nahirapan talaga, first time namin na-experience to, a lot of the Baguio sites na historical are owned or claimed by national agencies. And that's why the access, hindi mabigay yung access kasi yung caretakers lang yung nandun. The access will have to go as far as the Secretary of whatever, Defense, for example, before they're going to release it. But it's in the list, tama po kayo. I like also to note, si Sir kanina, sa atin, sa elders ng Baloy, isang challenge, and ito yung aming sa NCCA, we don't want Baguio to start its history during the American period. Ino-note ko po sa inyo yan, just for the guidance lang. That the other structures go as far before the American period. So your notations there that it used to be a pasture land, it used to be our grazing area, it was our cemetery, should be duly noted. Baka kasi sabihin lang nila, Baguio only started when the Americans came. When in fact, Baguio was there before the Americans came. I think this is sensitivity po para lang sa atin. Alam ko marami pong issues, pati sa John Hay, hindi po sila pumayag na magpamap noong BCDA. So, yan ang mga aming concerns. Pwede namin siyang i-map as secondary data. But the problem is we don't have the other access to the other information. Kaya incomplete yung data ng mga mappers. So, maybe we need also maybe the City Council for this, baka para na ilagay doon. Otherwise, wala tayong mailalagay sa mga other heritage areas.
Sir, ma'am.
Yeah. I have not seen St. Francis Seminary sa Lipeng, neither as a site, an educational institution, or a church. Very important yun kasi ito yung sa mga Agustinian quiz yata. So, please take note of that.
Noted, ma'am. Any other? No? Sir?
Ma'am, I think we have also we have a circle. Pagdang circle mo lang tinig na din. It's very near my school. And we call it Morning Glory Park.
Okay, sir. Noted, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other more questions? None? So we go to the next subcategory, which is